បងស្រីនិងអ្នកមីងទាំងពីរស្គាល់មនុស្សនៅក្នុងវីដេអូនេះដែរទេ
ចាប្រហែល
ដោយផ្ទាល់ដែរទេ
ចង់
It's Not a Dream stands as one of Cambodia's most watched television programs. Every week, millions of viewers are entranced by the show, tuning in eagerly to track the narratives of families torn apart by one of the 20th century's most brutal genocides. With its overarching goal to mend the wounds and alleviate the pain inflicted during Cambodia's darkest period, this reality show serves as a powerful tool for healing. April 17th, 1975 marked the capture of Phnom Penh by communist Khmer Rouge forces, led by Pol Pot, overthrowing the US-backed military dictatorship of Lon Nol and his government. On the day the Khmer Rouge took control of the capital, Mayung Chandara faced heart-wrenching separation from his parents and 4 siblings at the tender age of just 11. Hailing from a middle-class background, Chandara's father held a prominent position as a high-ranking military officer, while his mother dedicated herself to homemaking. Before the arrival of the Khmer Rouge, Cambodia was already in turmoil due to power struggles within the country and intensive US bombing aimed at disrupting North Vietnamese supply routes. Unsurprisingly, Chandara's father decided to move his children out of the city. When they received news that the Khmer Rouge was about to take the capital, Chandara's father ordered his subordinates to return and protect the city. Chandara followed his father's soldiers to the capital because he missed his home. On that day, an air of celebration filled the city as people lined both sides of the road to welcome the Khmer Rouge forces. Rapidly, though, Phnom Penh filled with confusion, chaos, and bloodshed. Chandara told us that he saw an armed person in military uniform shooting people right in front of him. The Khmer Rouge began their purge by targeting government officials and state employees, with many of them being dragged outside and executed in public. Additionally, almost 3 million people were forced out of Phnom Penh, and Chandara was one of them. Chandara explains that the passage of time has blurred many details. Yet, upon returning and glimpsing the familiar house, he found himself almost overwhelmed by recollections which proved challenging to confront. The place that used to be his home has, of course, changed. Chandara revealed a deep yearning for his family, expressing a profound sense of longing. Nonetheless, he clung to the hope that, despite his constant relocation, the day would come when he would be reunited with his family. Given the substantial size of his family, he reasoned that even in the face of adversity, there could be surviving members. Bayon TV remained his final source of hope in this quest for reunion. Today marks the first time in 6 years that there's been a change of set design in the studio. The production team is working hard to prepare for the recording of the show called It's Not a Dream.
Hello, so can you? Sawadika. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
I always want to come and watch this show myself. Can you tell me a little bit, what is the story today?
It's the reunion program that we're going to provide it to Mr. Meng Chandara. He's applied to our program to search for his family, his mother, his brother and sister that has been separated during the war.
Actually, your team allowed me to see him yesterday.
Yes.
My question is he going to see his family today? Can you tell me? Yes.
Sokhayu is the producer of the show, meticulously supervising every aspect of its production. The entire team consists of individuals under the age of 40, none of whom, including Sokhayu, possess direct experience of the genocide.
No one was born before the war or even during the war. They all was born after the war. But we have one same heart, I think, that we want to help our people. And even we didn't get through the war, but our parents did. Our parents, our grandmother, our grandfather that has been gone through the war. And
Your
they
family
told-
too.
They told us the story, and we know how bad of the Pol Pot even we didn't get through by ourselves.
The program provides a hotline for viewers to call and share their stories. Upon receiving information, the team conducts diligent investigations and follow-ups, persisting until they uncover and connect details that pave the way for a reunion of family members.
You know, every case we need to flexible every time for each case. We can't use the same strategy for one case and another case. We need to be flexible. You know, talking to people that never remember about their past for almost 30 years. It's so hard to convince them to talk again. And they denied it to remember because it's so much cruel for them to remember. They got a mental problem because of those memories. So the best way is that if it is not necessary, they won't think about those past.
Under the Khmer Rouge's tyranny, millions of lives were lost, and an almost endless number of families were torn apart.
Everyone that come to our program saying the same thing, that it's my last hope, it's my last hope. You know, because the war already ended 30 years ago, and those people have tried all their best. They have tried all their best already to search for their relative, their family at the suspected area that they think their family probably live there. But those people end up in hopeless because when they go there, they find nothing.
Almost 4 decades later, there exists no specific government agency tasked with the responsibility of reuniting these families. The process is intricate and demands considerable patience. Upon receiving information, the team initiates a nationwide quest, meticulously searching for individuals and rigorously verifying the information provided. Since its inception in 2010, every Monday at 6 p.m, Cambodians have been tuning in to hear the earnest pleas that still echo, even if only faintly. These plaintive voices call, "I'm still alive. Please find me." During nearly 4 years under the Khmer Rouge regime, over 2 million people out of a population of 7 million succumbed to one of the most brutal periods in global history. The Khmer Rouge sought to force a new society through the radical ideology of total revolution. Led by Pol Pot, an advocate of extreme left-wing politics, the regime isolated the country, transforming its economy into a self-reliant agrarian society. This involved cutting off ties with the outside world, abolishing banks and currency, and closing down hospitals and schools. Enemies were identified within various social classes, including the military, civil servants, royalty, monks, and artists. They were systematically eliminated. Such individuals were rounded up and detained at Tuol Sleng. Tuol Sleng used to be a high school which the Khmer Rouge transformed into a place of imprisonment, torture, and execution, renaming it Security Office 21, or S21. Enemies of the Khmer Rouge were brought to this room for data recording and photographs. The eyes in those photographs show a mix of fear, despair, and hopelessness. Some are difficult to read, revealing little about their thoughts or feelings, whether enduring severe torture or pleading for their lives. This man is the last to have personally looked into those eyes. Nem En was the head photographer at S21.
อันนี้นึมเองถ่ายหมดเลย
Nem En, at the age of 11, was forcibly recruited into the Khmer Rouge. He told us that at the age of 16, he was dispatched to China for photography studies, and upon his return, he was appointed as the photographer. Despite feeling remorse for every one of his subjects, he found himself compelled to work and obey orders. Doing so has enabled him to survive to this day. At times, he had the opportunity to capture photographs of the leader, Pol Pot. According to reports from certain international media outlets, Nem En faced the risk of execution by the Khmer Rouge if he took blurred photographs of Pol Pot. The estimated number of people held at S21 is 15,000. This is, however, speculative, and the exact number remains unknown. No journalists or mass media were given access to this facility at the time. Furthermore, following the invasion by the Vietnamese army, some evidence was allegedly lost. It's rumoured that only 7 survivors emerged from S21. This is perhaps the most heart-wrenching image for many who have visited Tuol Sleng. Nem En recalls that it appeared that she wanted to ask why she had been brought to that place and about the charges she was facing. None of the prisoners had the right to speak. A woman in a black dress was compelled to gaze ahead for the photographer. The image of her cradling a baby evokes sadness and empathy. The infant had entered the world only a few days prior to being confined with his mother in S21. The mother's countenance is stern and her complexion pallid. Her eyes are filled with tears and fixed directly on the camera lens, expressing nothing but profound despair. The woman captured in the photograph was Chan Kum Srun, a Cambodian of Chinese descent. She was the wife of a regional leader in the Khmer Rouge, belonging to one of the families within the Khmer Rouge leadership, which Pol Pot viewed with suspicion. Following the taking of the photograph, she and her child were separated and executed. Nem En revealed to us that neither of them were aware of their imminent demise. For him, Tuol Sleng contains many stories that defy easy explanation. Nevertheless, memories of the past remain vivid to him. Of the 1.7 million people who lost their lives, nearly half didn't meet their end through execution, but succumbed due to forced labour, disease, and severe starvation. Chandara recalls that one of the daily issues was preparing food without any kitchen utensils. He resorted to using a bowl or banana leaves to cook rice. Sleeping alone in a quiet place, he felt profoundly lonely. At the age of 11, Chandara was forced to work in the fields after being forced to move from the capital. Starving, he was nearly killed by the Khmer Rouge for stealing food. A young boy without a family was facing a life of suffering and misery, along with many others who were enduring the same fate.
If you want to see more great content from all over the world, please like the video, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you.
The Khmer Rouge's brutal reign lasted 3 years, 8 months and 20 days. On January the 7th, 1979, the Vietnamese army invaded and seized Phnom Penh, establishing a new government, with Heng Samrin as the new leader. The Khmer Rouge was pushed back to the western border near Thailand. Despite their genocidal brutality, they still received support from powerful nations including the United States, China, and some ASEAN countries. The war continued against the hundreds of thousands of Vietnamese forces stationed in Cambodia amid ruins and corpses. In 1979, Cambodia, in the aftermath of the Khmer Rouge atrocities, was in a state of complete disarray. millions of Cambodians, compelled by the Khmer Rouge to abandon their homes, embarked on the journey back to their residences. Chandara, along with the numerous other Cambodians who couldn't return home, had to seek refuge in Thailand. They lived in refugee camps for over 8 years before finally returning to their homeland. Today, Chandara works as a male nurse, applying the professional skills he acquired during his time as a refugee. He now has a family of his own. Yet regardless of his location, this man dreams every night of his parents and siblings whom he hasn't seen for so long. Chandara said the biggest regret is that he left without saying goodbye to his parents. He didn't have a chance to take care of them at all. The show's recording is about to begin. The host meticulously reviews the script and cues during the final rehearsal, emphasizing the importance of the numerous details. The primary objective is to orchestrate reunions for family members who have long been separated, with both parties blissfully unaware of the impending reunion. Participants are settling into their seats. They're predominantly individuals who endured the traumas of genocide. Among them are those still in search of their families. Chandara takes a seat at the back, accompanied by his wife and children. He's present at the behest of the production team, who urged him to return for the show's recording following his previous appearance, when the quest for his missing family bore no fruit. Backstage, Chandara's younger brother and sister anxiously await their turn, uncertain whether they will finally be reunited with their brother, who vanished at the age of 11. Given the nature of television, the production team is tasked with crafting an emotionally charged atmosphere to captivate and engage the viewers. The show begins and Chandara is brought up on stage. The host asks questions to prompt him to recount the events and his life while he's been separated from his family. Then the host directs his attention to the monitor. Here are Chandara's younger brother and sister, who also embarked on their own search for Chandara. There's no need to explain the emotions, as the production team brings them all onto the stage. Following the reunion with his younger siblings, Chandara says that he no longer desires anything more in life. The host, however, encouraged him to take one more look at the monitor. What appears on screen transcends mere dreams. His mother and 2 other sisters. With all 6 family members now gathered, except for the father who died during the war, this show has orchestrated something truly miraculous. More than its participants had dared to even dream. No one had anticipated even the possibility of such a reunion in this lifetime.
Mr. Chandara, you remember me, no? ตกใจมาก
Chandara's sister told us that she thought her brother might have been forcibly taken away and killed, while his younger brother said he never thought he would meet his sibling again. After the show, it's the moment to capture a family photo, the first for 41 years. The crew begins gathering the props, dimming the lights, and the audience slowly leaves the studio. In the reception room at the front of the studios, the newly reunited family lingers. Their conversation continues, with tears replaced by smiles and laughter. Undoubtedly, after 41 years of separation, there are endless stories waiting to be shared. During the brutal reign of the Khmer Rouge, millions perished, and tens of thousands of families were separated. Although the genocide ended almost 40 years ago, only a handful of high-ranking Khmer Rouge officials have ever faced international criminal tribunals, and the process remains painfully slow. There has still not been a reconciliation process, or a government agency charged with actively searching for families separated at that time. Some have lost hope, while those who still cling to it attempt to find a path back to their families. 41 years is a long time in a life. For this family, however, no matter how long, hope did not die, and their reunion is no longer a dream.